welcome back to another powerful episode of The Mindful Journey. I'm your host Avik, and today we are taking a deep dive into something that we are, or I would say we have all wrestled with at some point, differently. Those stubborn patterns in life that uh, just won't seem to let go, right? So the question comes here is like, why is it that no matter how much inner work we do, the same challenges, the same relationships, or even if I'd say the same failures keep circling back? And also, the main question comes here is like, what if the answer is not about trying harder, but it's all about going deeper? Yes. So, dear listeners, joining me today is a lovely guest. Please welcome Mridula Agarwal. So, welcome to the show, Mridula.
Thank you so much, Avik. Lovely to be here too. Thank you for
Amazing.
having me.
Amazing. So, dear listeners, as you know, like I introduce you with all of my lovely guests, and today I would love to introduce you with Mridula. So, Mridula is a trauma recovery expert, Reiki Grandmaster, energy scientist, and the founder of IReAwake. Am I correct, right?
I read
IReAwake?
awake.
IReAwake. Okay. And for more than 23 years, she's helped people from trauma survivors and the parents to entrepreneurs and CXOs transform not just their symptoms, but their soul blueprint. Yes. So, through her soul rebirth framework, she's guided thousands towards the rapid breakthroughs, often within 24 to 72 hours, by decoding the hidden roots of repeating the patterns. So I'll not take much of your time, dear listeners. Let's get started. And Midura, I'm so excited to explore this with you today. So welcome again.
Hey, thank you.
Amazing.
So,
So yeah, please. Yeah.
so Avik, this is very interesting because I keep on hearing these patterns from people's language and I keep witnessing them in day-to-day life. But a lot of time, people themselves are quite unaware that they are caught up in patterns. I mean, a couple of days back, my son came back. He's 11 years old, and he came back every day. He goes down to play with his friends and everything. And obviously, they're all children. They end up fighting. And he 2 days back, he came back. He said, "Every time I'm the only person who gets blamed for the things I haven't done. I did not do anything. It is always the other person who ends up blaming me." So I asked him, "How is it that every time everybody ends up only blaming you? Did you do anything wrong?" "No, I never do anything wrong. And yet I am the only person who gets blamed." I said, "Then there must be something you need to do differently. How is it that always you get caught up?"
Mm,
And this is so true for every daughter in law who is suffering with a mother in law, every female who is in the relationship with a husband who is supposedly very nice, but somehow doesn't give her that kind of respect. And these are the people who come back to me repeating their own problems in the form of pattern that no matter how much I do for this man, I never get equal respect or equal stage. Sometimes people take action and sometimes they just blame it on others. The culture is like this, the society is like this, my luck is like this. I must have had done some bad karma to be landed here.
mm,
But if you observe, everyone has patterns. There are patterns which are at a relationship level that I always get tyrannical because my credit always gets stolen up. I always have ideas, but somebody else always voices them first.
mm,
I always get to lead, but I never get good performers in my team. Had I gotten good performers, then maybe I would have delivered what I was supposed to.
exactly.
They're also very minor patterns that I don't know why, but I always wake up on time, I get ready on time, but I end up missing, let's say,
Mm,
my school bus every day.
yeah.
So, this is the way patterns are right in front of us. And
Mm,
because we've gotten so habituated to them, they've gotten lost. Like we have gotten lost to them. Like we feel this is normal. So any person who is trapped in an abusive situation, their routine is kind of identical. Every day they are taking a jab, being taken a jab at, that they're being ridiculed, they are being emotionally put down. And they endure all of it, and then they get back to routine. Evening happens, again, certain things circle back. And that is how the momentum of the life gets set up. And before you know it, 10 years have passed.
True. True. I mean, this is really very great example, like you have shared, and it is also very very true that because when we are talking about the patterns, right, and these happens on a kind of I would say it's a everyday thing also, so for few, and many people think that it's very obvious, like you said, that like the habits or the bad habits or unhealthy relationships. So yes, very true, but from there, like the example which you shared, from there I would love to come to this point that uh, when we are having these patterns in our everyday life and in front of us, so how can we recognize that? I mean, for someone, I mean, who is very kind of, or maybe for a layman also, how can someone begin to recognize the patterns that actually shaping their story?
There are two ways to do it. One is you recollect and re-remember that as a child, what you wanted out of life. Every child has a dream. I'll wake up, I'll grow up, I'll own millions. Or some people feel that, as a child, I'll be the greatest artist, I'll be a dreamer, I'll take care of my parents, I will be a football player, I'll be a cricket lover, I will do photography, I'll do whatever. And it's not just about the profession that they are talking about, it's also the quality. If I'm a photographer, that means I'll be able to capture the magnanimity of this world. It's also about how they perceive themselves, or who they want to be in the future. So, as a child, all of us have a very glorified image of our dreams,
Mm-hmm.
because that's a moving target. It keeps on changing. And moment you recall that image, compare it to your current life. Either you can compare it to your current life, or you can take an estimate that if my life goes on like this, even like a freshly graduate who has just now entered into a corporate world, if that particular pressure, let's say, take a extrapolation of the life for the next 5 years or 10 years, they will get a fairly accurate idea that once they're caught up in a corporate grind and they will follow the general script of how and what they would do in life, they will reach at a point which will perhaps not resemble anything close to their dream.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. The moment you do that,
Mm.
two things happen. Everybody has it. That's how people get depressed, because they feel that whatever I want to do in life, that is out of my reach. Part of
Mm.
them wants to give up. Some people, that part is very strong. They want to give up, that there's no point in even trying any further. I have strayed away so much from my original path that no matter what I do, I cannot change my life. I cannot change my partner. I cannot change my job. I cannot relearn a new skill and now get back to the things which I should have had done maybe 20 years back. And because they feel there is no other way, they fall depressed. Part of them doesn't want to live any longer because it's pathetic. And if you compare and
Mm.
audit what you could have done different, not what you could have done different in a sense, in from the space of regret or guilt, in the term of patterns, what particular patterns, thought patterns, energy patterns, life level philosophies have kept you stuck into a life of mediocrity?
Mhm.
Did you need to take more risks? Have you been afraid of stepping into a unknown zone? Is that the reason why you're stuck? And you have created a very safe and a cage-like life for yourself? Or is it that you never had a emotional capacity to deal with people who have too much authority, they yield too much power, and you end up getting suppressed at their hands?
Yeah.
Or is it because you're too afraid to speak up to what you really feel? There will be, if you will audit, if these people will audit their life, they would know, and after 20 minutes of conversation with anyone who is potentially looking to transform themselves, after 15, 20 minutes, they themselves are telling me they're okay. My problem is I am not able to speak. People are doing wrong stuff too, but I don't feel like talking back to. That's my problem.
Yeah.
So they know.
Fact.
People always know. Uh, Most people, they don't do anything in spite of having some glimpse into the patterns is because we do not have a very clear cut way. Like people know that if they have a fever, they need to take paracetamol. But if I have a pattern, what do I do? Currently,
Exactly.
maybe you can go to ChatGPT and you can inquire about the pattern. You can log on to some therapy call and you will intellectualize, oh, this is the root cause. My father never allowed me to speak up. That's why today I'm not able to speak up. Okay, great. You figured that out. But did that break your pattern? Not really.
Exactly. And that's a great deep question for them inside. Like, and it's also very important that reflection must happen.
Hmm.
Mm.
See, reflection, even if you do a lot of reflection in terms of
Mm.
being caught up, like this is how I feel that, therapies to a very large extent have failed us. And a lot of times when you end up doing a lot of reflection and you are talking about your trauma, you're talking about your pain and horrible stuff that has happened to a lot of unfortunate people. Maybe you were born in oppressive family, maybe you were born in a war torn area and you saw that your entire village has been bombed, or maybe some deeper issues happened, as you grew up, like a complex family dynamics. The more you will talk about them, the more that pain will surface.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the pain which has surfaced to the top is not like a milk which is going to boil over, spill out,
Mm.
and end of story.
True.
No. The more you're going to talk about it, the more you're going to recall it. What you are instead doing is you're wounding it deeper and deeper like a coil around your whole aura, around your whole body.
Mm.
And it was your mind's um, job to protect you by not recalling all of that. Because if all of that, raw wound, it sits on the surface, you're perpetually, I would say, hazarded. The smallest of things will start pricking you, the smallest of
Mm.
issues will become more magnified, and you will be so much stuck in your trauma, so much walked down. That from that space, you cannot create any life with different choice. It cannot lead to any place which will be, happier or more successful. A lot of people say trauma is a great motivator. Of course, it is a great motivator. It will push you to do something beyond. But that motivation is usually like, I want to run away from it. And what happens if someone is running away from it? Do they find themselves in a more successful, brilliant spot where the spotlight is on them? No, never. They find a spot which feels safe, usually under the rock, hidden. So the whole
Because
nervous
I believe
system.
it. Yeah. Sorry. Please. Please.
No, no, go on. Please.
Yeah, I was saying like it's I guess it's this is our nature, right? This is our nature where whenever we come to a situation where we feel like okay, I have to safeguard myself, then we look for those corners or maybe those safe spaces where we can safeguard ourselves, like you had mentioned. So I guess this is a nature part of it.
Yeah, it's a very, very primal instinct. If we feel, if we feel that we are being chased by a predator, we are going to run away and find a space which will be under the rock or someplace, which is covered and is inaccessible. And if you now recall all the people in your life, maybe your bosses,
Mm.
maybe your parents, all of them have a emotional safe space where people literally shut down. They will refuse to have a further conversation with you. They will go out, they will not make friends. Or even with the old friends, they will have a series of repeated conversations, not the deeper ones, not the different ones. When they're thinking about having a job, no matter how many jobs they change, it is always the same mechanical motion, same kind of behavior, same kind of depth of the excellence that they bring on the table. So one is behavior. If someone is aggressive, no matter where they go, they are aggressive.
Yeah.
That's at a behavior level challenge. There's a behavior pattern the neurology has got applied upon. And another is, if let's say at a character level or at a deeper level, let's say the persona is very pessimistic. So even if they go to a startup unicorn kind of a place, and if they're very pessimistic, the kind of work they will do, they may have a very polished behavior, but they're perpetual pessimist. That is a kind of energy they will bring on the table. And not only they themselves will be
Mm.
always cynicist, they will also perpetuate that kind of negativity around to all others.
Exactly.
And they would not even remember what made them so pessimist. That's the whole problem of it. Because being pessimist is a lot of times a coping mechanism or trauma response, because that way they know, let me always assume that negative is going to happen so that I do not have any hope
Yeah.
of anything good happening. And since I do not have any hope of anything good is going to happen, that means I will not be disappointed when it doesn't.
Exactly. Exactly.
That perhaps has a root in trauma.
Mm. No, I totally
But
agree. I mean, yeah.
yeah.
Please, please, please. Yeah.
So the patterns are everywhere and everybody is caught up in layers and layers of it. There are certain patterns which are, even repeating over lifetimes.
Mm.
Like if you see, like I had a client who she couldn't breathe and she said, I have had a child asthma. I said,
Okay.
is it genetic? She said, no. I said, are you allergic to something? She said, no. I said, what does doctor say? Doctor said, no, there is no reason for it. And it's going to stay like this. So she had a lot of coping up mechanism like an inhaler and this and that. And she was just, living out of the life. And when I met her, she was 45 plus big. So I said, okay, fine, let me just scan you once. Let me see what is the issue. And the moment I started to scan her, I felt as if my whole lungs are tight. And I was transported. Like I went into some deep trance wherein I felt that since childhood, she has this feeling that I am very small as person and the whole world is towering above me and I will be crushed. Like I should probably go and hide. And that was so evident in her breath. And when I investigated her life patterns, that pattern was not only just repeating in her physical world. At work, she was playing invisible. She would do all the work, but she would get the credit also. But she would not take that kind of limelight that she deserved. She never would speak up her thoughts. She would never speak up her feelings. She would never be expressive. She was extremely introvert and uncomfortable when it, came to even talking to everyone. And even to her close family members, her circle was very tight. And there also, she wasn't very comfortable in even opening up.
Okay.
And that was a manifestation that was probably coming from many, many lifetimes. That, that's just a personality. That was a pattern which was woven into her to be fearful of everyone. Like the world is going to swallow me alive. There's no logic to it. There is no route that I could see or I needed to see for that matter to clear it up. But sometimes patterns are woven into our biology by our ancestral traumas. Any family, like if you see these war affected zones, the next 5 generations, their body remember the trauma because every generation will have to go through series of socio-economic and psychological compensation before one generation can finally live up to the level of dignity. And that generation will forever hold all those conditioned responses that I have to be frugal, I cannot spend so much, I cannot trust everyone, because those were the same feelings and same thought processes which their fathers and forefathers had in their body. That is very evident in their behavior. Those behaviors are picked up by the future generation. So patterns are just sometimes repeating, not just in one person's life, but in many entire lifetimes and in generations.
Mhm. True. Very true. I mean, it's really fascinating because it makes us realize the patterns are not just the kind of accidents, but they are the signs. Like as you mentioned, they are the signs which is pointing us to those unresolved energies. So
Yeah.
um, definitely. So yeah, true. And like from here, also one more thing. Like we often talk about like that affirmations, journaling, coaching. Uh, Definitely after that also, we still feel kind of stuck. So
Yeah.
yeah, so according to you, what do you think? I mean, why this doesn't surface level mindset work always to heal
See,
these
like I said,
patterns?
the patterns are a variety of levels. Like when you look at a mandala, for example,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
an art which has a repeating patterns, you would see that It requires many, many patterns and variety of strokes, layer over layer each other, which gives it the final design of the mandala, right? Now, our mind, our life, and our entire patterns are like that. So there are patterns which are in the subconscious mind. Like for example, you have learned from childhood by observing people around you or by watching news, media, by developing your own thought process. Let's say, for example, a way to brush your teeth. And that particular way of brushing your teeth has gotten your gums damaged over the passage of time. Okay. Now that's a subconscious mind. For example, for someone, it could be a subconscious mind kind of a thing. That is a kind of pattern. Maybe if you give your mind a command, subconscious mind receives command over and over again. If you say it, that's a very long, drawn, and painful way to do it. Like if I'm doing a subconscious level work, that process is done in like 20 minutes. But let's say, even if you take the similar kind of approach through a variety of um, visualization or chanting or affirmation, that I am brushing my teeth softly today. Every day, I brush my teeth with love and care. Now, slowly, slowly, that impression will form in your mind and it may get settled. Okay. That particular problem for someone may get solved because that problem was rooted in the subconscious mind. It was a programming issue. Someone learned it wrong, so it was repeating itself in a wrong way. But let's assume second person also has the same problem who brushes the teeth wrong and is very rigorously every day brushing the teeth. And if you observe closely, maybe that person in general is very fidgety, very abrasive. Every action that they do, even washing themselves, is a very self-criticizing piece of work. I wish these blemishes would go away. And people take this pumic stone and then they are, literally scratching themselves with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, that if you look closely, that may not be just a subconscious level thing. That may have gotten a deeper roots. Maybe they felt unloved, unseen, unaccepted, and they're trying to erase themselves out completely to become something else.
To come out from that pain.
Yeah, that may have had a very deeper programming of maybe a deeper childhood trauma or maybe from some past life, but they were not accepted for who they were. Or somehow they have managed to create that thought or that energy within them that I'm not good enough. And this is the way it is coming out. For that particular kind of shift, only subconscious programming will not work. Then it is not a question of I will brush my teeth myself. It is much deeper.
Correct.
So there you will have to combine the subconscious energy work with the trauma work, energy work, chakra work, maybe past life work. And then you will find that person not just brushing the teeth properly. That is not the outcome. The outcome we are going after is that that person will have full acceptance of who they are. They will be comfortable in their skin. They will enjoy themselves being themselves. They will talk out their ideas about. They will participate in life. They will have fun. They will make authentic friends. They are not, they will, be looking for people who will enrich them, who will empower them. They will pick up hobbies and learnings that they want to do. They're naturally good at. Because now they are into the space. I'm good. I'm wonderful.
Exactly. I mean, totally agree with this. I mean, also, I really love this distinction that it's not just only about walking harder on surface, but shifting the hidden architecture
Yeah.
underneath. So, yeah, yeah, definitely. And like you mentioned about the uh, repeating cycles, right? So, like childhood trauma, ancestral influence, or maybe something else entirely as well. So, uh, what do you think? I mean, what are the most common root causes that you have uncovered? I mean, if you can share.
So I feel that, the entire Earth population, so we have 114 chakras, out of which we have seven major chakras, which reside on our spine. Okay, they're invisible energy imprints, energy fluxes. And the base of the spine is the root chakra. And that is a chakra which is responsible for our survival. So, for example, the analogy for that is if you take a sprout, if you take a seed and if you put it in the water or like if you put it in the soil, the first thing it will do is it will grow a little bit of sprout. It will form a root. That root, what it does is it goes around and searches for nutrition. It searches, do I have water in this space? Do we have minerals in the soil? If I do anchor myself in this spot, is there a space where my roots can dig me? Go? It does some audit, it does some survey. And if the roots come back with a report that, okay, fine, this place is good, then it starts flourishing, it starts anchoring, and the whole process of blooming starts.
Hmm.
In our life, that base of the spine, the root chakra, is exactly that. And as a human being, as a child, even before we are born, when we are unborn in our mother's womb, part of us is doing that audit. Are my parents fighting? Is this emotionally safe place? I hope there are not bombs which are being blowing up outside the home. Do we have enough to eat? Even if we do not have enough to eat, will I be listened? Will I be acknowledged? Well, who am I? Do we have enough money? Or like my everyday conversation is about money and how difficult the life is. And once you have this kind of survival mode, 90% of the life works on, paycheck to paycheck. Roti kapna magdar. It's about food. It's about a housing. It's about the clothing. And after all of those things, so every time, if you see 80% of the world population is at a level that firstly, I will educate, I will get education, I will become something. Once I become something, I will buy a house, I will marry, I will have children, I will create enough wealth so that myself, my family, my children are safe. Then, if I have spare, then I will go ahead and do something for the world outside.
Okay.
Yeah, this is how the model of the story of the whole thing is. And then, if you see generation after generation, people are just living their life, which they absolutely hate, doing work they absolutely hate, being trapped in marriages which they do not want to be in. And deep down, the yearning for something magical, they're yearning for something much bigger and brighter that excites them. But they feel too scared to even leave the jobs because how will they sustain?
Correct.
So that sustenance, that survival instinct is so strong that I have seen people pick up partners based on whether that person is a good economic match, not based on am I compatible with this person. People pick up pick up education or streams of education which they feel is gonna be profitable, not things that they absolutely love and they're gifted. People end up doing routines like morning 5 o'clock till late night 11:30 because they feel if I put in extra efforts today, my tomorrow will be better. There is no clarity, and this is utter bullshit.
Hmm.
And these root chakra blockages are the most prevalent one. And that's why, because if you're just stuck in survival, you will never be able to create an empire if you're just stuck on creating a one-bedroom house.
Correct.
And the energy that it takes to create or even envision an empire, to understand what goes behind, what kind of people you would need, what kind of architecture would it be, what kind of product or service would it be. The kind of person, when you look at billionaires, the energy they exude, the way they think is completely different from someone who is maybe toiling 15 hours a day.
Exactly.
So
Mm.
it has got nothing to do with time. It has got nothing to do with what you have learned. It has got nothing to do with where you're from.
True. Agree with you definitely. So, like, for the listeners who may feel skeptical, right? So, how do you differentiate between that quick fix and the true lasting transformation?
In my line of work, there's no such thing as quick fix because quick fix is usually when people assume that my emotional state is shifted. Like, for example, if someone is crying over a breakup, you take that friend out, you talk for a couple of hours, you have a nice coffee, maybe you play some video games, and all of us are smiling. Is the problem solved, according to you, Avik?
Not exactly.
Person is just feeling better. Now,
Mm.
person is feeling better is not equal to problem solved.
Correct.
Similar is the issue when people do some meditations, relaxation techniques. There's nothing wrong with them. They're absolutely perfect. But please know they're not remedy to the deeper problem fixes. Sometimes accidentally something can happen, of course. Everybody, universe can strike you anytime, anywhere with that kind of revelation. But as a design, they are not for those deeper resets. So people assume, I think again, it's a lack of awareness. People assume that today I'm feeling better. So hence, I'm not depressed. But if you really lean into psychology, you will find that people can feel better as a part of a manic depression. 2 days are very good and 2 days are very bad.
Understood.
So this is never a measurement. How you're feeling is never a measurement of whether your patterns are fixed or not. How you are feeling is just a measurement of how today your emotional state is or in the moment it is. And that is never a
Exactly.
fix. Yeah, that is not a fix.
It's all about how I'm feeling right now, or maybe how in good shape today I am. So that impacts our um, everything. I mean,
That's a wrong.
yeah.
That's a wrong way of auditing. See, right now you might be feeling very light. A lot of people they who have routines, they go to offices, they have work to do, they have
Yeah.
people to answer to, and they naturally get into a certain high performance mode,
Hmm.
and then they do what we need to do. Okay. And then what happens by the time the night falls and they're all alone in their bed, all those thoughts, all those emotions, they come back to them
Hmm.
because those are there too, unresolved.
Exactly.
And part of them are deeply hurting. And the worst part is our culture. And I think for the want of lack of better techniques, we have learned to ignore these feelings. And it has been told to us again and again, don't pay attention, they will go away. Go away where?
True.
Nowhere. So the measurement of knowing whether it's a quick fix or whether the problem is healed is when you look back. So the healing happens in stages. Like, for example, if someone has been through breakup, maybe initially in the first couple of days, they are little days. They're feeling lonely and they're feeling, oh my God, I have been through a breakup. And they look back at all the good times and they start missing that person. And they're like, okay, maybe I did a mistake. Maybe that person will come back to me and maybe I wanted to go back to them. Maybe they had a little bit of problem. Maybe I overreacted. And another part of them is like, no, that person, they will be reminded, okay, whatever you did was right. That person was not right for you. Now, that kind of pendulum like swing, which happens eternally, which is a dilemma which they are battling, when they will look back, if they have healed, they will have a more integrated sense in the sense that when they will look back, they will recognize that I like that person because my own frequency of, let's say, outgoing, enjoyable personality matched with theirs. That is where my vibes are matching. But there are certain aspects of that person's behavior that has shown me that I cannot stand being ridiculed. I will not tolerate emotional negligence. I will not be able to partner up with someone who does not share the similar future as me. And that kind of clarity will stop that pendulum like swing and will become more concrete in not only your understanding but also in your body. Now, when I say in body, it means that when you next time face that person, you will not be a hot mess, emotional mess, who is confused.
Yeah.
It actually means that you'll be able to have a conversation with that person and also know that maybe sometime in the future you can come back to being friends if you two decide to be. Or if this person goes away, that's also fine. We have had some good times. Maybe we were not meant to be together, but at least we had some good times. You respect that.
Yeah.
And that is not just mental maturity. Like even in your body, you will feel that.
Correct.
So
Mm.
this is not a quick fix. I'm not trying to console anyone. Anytime, don't cry, it will be fine. I'll find someone new. No, we're not all on those track altogether. The track of healing is to introspect and to understand and remember what you really wanted. What kind of
Mm.
partner do you need? What kind of relationship will make you happy? What kind of future you are on your path to create? What kind of health you want? A lot of time people want a very good physical health. They want to run a marathon. They want to look a certain way. But a lot of times it is misplaced. They are actually looking for attention, not just necessarily health. So when you do all of these processes, your own perspective on who you are becomes on the forefront. And with that perspective, everything else starts stitching up.
Yeah.
That, the thing that I said was a failure, actually a part of me never wanted to do it. I was doing it half-heartedly. So as you unlock newer perspectives and newer behaviors, your and you look at your timeline in the future, you will find yourself doing different things. Same things differently, different things altogether. Same people but different behaviors, or maybe different people, different behaviors.
Exactly. And really,
That
that's
is,
inspiring.
yeah, and that is the mark of true healing.
Mm. Definitely. Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's really inspiring, as I was saying, like because uh, it shows that healing does not have to be kind of lifelong, a full climb,
Hmm.
but it can be a kind of doorway that actually opens quickly once we find that key for that lock. So, uh,
Hmm.
true,
Precisely.
definitely, yeah, exactly. So, if someone who is listening
Hmm.
right now is stuck in that cycle and they can't seem to break, or maybe in anything, like whether in the relationship, career, or self worth, so then what's the very first step you would suggest they can take to begin transforming the pattern today?
See, Avik, to be very honest, I have been through many, many ups and downs in my whole life. And it was in my whole personal quest that I ran from pillar to post, from counselors to coaches to
Mm.
psychologists to astrologers to tarot card readers to energy leaders to meditation to yoga retreats, you name it. I've been through every stall there can be in a self-help category. Okay. And I know one thing very clearly, that no single modality, like every modality has its speciality, how it can help you and break you free up till a certain level, but not a single modality is complete, which is good. In a way, you can combine and test run it as per your requirement. So if anyone is stuck, I think the fastest, if you're looking for the fastest and more cleanest way, is look for someone who can help you, and not just help you like to feel better, help you to change
Mm.
inside out, help you to produce a result. Don't try to do it by yourself. It's too hard. It's too
Mm.
time consuming, and it is not worth devoting your 5 years of your life only on transformation. Okay, it's not a rocket science. You want to get a PhD on by yourself. What for? So if we have a surgery, like if we have a heart disease, we go to a cardiologist and we get ourselves sorted, right? We don't get into it ourselves. The whole concept that, you can do it yourself, you could just do chanting, you just do daily sadhana, it will all be fine. It's all good.
Yeah,
There is no problem in it. You can do all of it. But then if you follow that approach, you cannot put outcomes with timelines. Then you'll be happy with what you get. So if someone is in a position where they are stuck and they are thinking about how do I do it, they need to shift their perspective and get into a frame rather than how do I do it. The question needs to be asked is, who do I go to?
exactly.
What do I want? When I say what do I want, it needs to be extremely uh, descriptive. Like in the next 6 months, I want to find a new partner who is of these kind of traits, or the relationship is of this quality. In the next 6 months, I want to change my job and have at least 40-50% hike. In the next 6 months, I want to be back to my routine and have a normal life, or getting out of some anxiety loops or psychosomatic illnesses. Those are your wants. So understand what do you want, and then understand who do you pull. Anyone who wants to get themselves out of it with a specific timeline, with a guaranteed results, they need to look for someone who can help them pay up money, sign up, and get it over with.
Yeah, very true.
So don't get stuck into the ego that I will do it. You can do it. Even with my clients also, after they have crossed a certain threshold, I give them certain toolkits that will systematically take them to the next level, to the next level, and to the next level. By all by itself. They don't need me after it. But when you are coming in for a change, put your ego aside that I will do it. You don't need to do it.
Right, right. Lovely. Great. I mean, that's definitely, it's such a refreshing conversation, I'd say. And thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and the journey with us today. What I find most refreshing about the conversation is like how you reframe the repeating patterns, not as kind of proof that we are failing, but also as a clue that we are ready for a kind of deeper level of healing. So that is that is very very important. And for all the listeners, I would love to say that if you are caught in the cycle that seems like unbreakable, then do remember that your patterns are not kind of quote unquote punishments, but they are the invitations to go deeper, and also to release like what uh, no longer serves, and also realign with your soul's true blueprint. So brother, like if someone wants to connect with you, what will be the great medium?
So we do have a calendar link where people can connect for a 2 hour healing come consultation session. It's nominally priced. And of course, from there, they do have a power to choose which direction they want to go in. They will have a complete idea that if they do take up a healing path, a
Yeah.
transformative process, exactly in the next 6 months, how will their life look? Like they'll get a glimpse into their new life, all in real time. So I think that becomes an easy way to make a decision, and also to understand some of the patterns that are most damaging in their own life. So we do have a link, and listeners can definitely reach out and book their appointments with me over Zoom call, and we can take it up from there.
Lovely, lovely. That's really great. So, dear listeners, what I can do is I'll put all the links into the show notes for your easy reference, so that you can easily reach out to Mridula. And with this hope, until next time, this is your host Avik, reminding you that your life is not defined by your repeating patterns, but it's actually defined by your courage to rewrite them. So, stay mindful, stay open, and keep evolving. So, thank you so much.